everyone, welcome to the BISP Solutions. My name is Anjali. Today we will continue the business rules. So just give me a second, I need to open my PPT. Okay, so today we were going to discuss some of the more business rules. Till now we have covered some of the complex business rules, and today we are going to start it with the compensation and benefits calculation. Alright, yesterday we have covered the employee tenure, and now we will doing the compensation and benefits. So without wasting time, let's get started. So this is the application. EPBC's application is installed here. Now I need to check the dimensions is required here or not. Dimension and members especially. So this will be the business rule for which we will be through which we will calculate the compensation and benefit for the employees of the organization. So first let me make you explain this, like how this rule has been created. So here I have fixed the base data, the working version, plan scenario, then I descendants of year total, and then P underscore 000 is the product. So I have taken all the members on which I want to run this business rule, so I have fixed that, and then 5800 is the member for the total salaries. So 5800 I have taken this in the inverted commas. Then I have used the if condition, that if @ is member, it is financial year 23 and 24. So this rule will work only in case the current year is the financial year 23 and the next year is financial year 24, as well as this rule will not work if this is financial year 21, 22 and 25 or and so on. So we have just fixed the condition for which we want to calculate, right? Then NetSuite fix, I have used the NetSuite fix here. Double times I give the condition. This is the second time of filter. So is member, I have fixed few entity over here. 110 is the facilities, resources, then east region, west region resources. So I just want to work this business rule only on these three entities, right? Now so basically we all know that if talking about the employee compensation and benefit, so there must be various kind of allowances and perquisites which are given to the employees for the sake of, like suppose basic salary of any employee is 2000, right, normally. So on that basis he can be allowed to take some allowances. Some percentage will be defined on that basis. So we can define the car allowances, the accommodation allowances, responsibility allowances. So here you can see 5800 is the salaries. So everything will be calculated on the basis of salaries. So because this is the car allowances, so is equal to 5800 means the salaries multiplied by variable. I have created one variable for the car allowance percent, so that whatever percent applied to my salary, it will give me a car allowance. Similarly, I have calculated the accommodation allowance, responsibility allowance, and so on. Then after these three allowances, I have used the medical coverage. This is a benefit I want to give my employees. Then this coverage will be on 5800, that is salaries, plus car allowances, plus accommodation allowances, plus responsibility allowances. So my medical coverage percentage, again I have created a variable, so it will be calculated on all of this. Okay, then Staff Provident Fund. Staff Provident Fund will be allowed to calculate on all of these, including the medical coverage. After that, 6110, this will be calculated on this is the payroll tax, right? So payroll tax will be calculated on all of these, including the staff provident fund, but excluding the medical coverage. Here you can see only car allowance, accommodation allowance, then responsibility allowance, all of these things are included. Then I have closed the end if condition with the end if and end fix. Okay, so we will create this business rule and see the differences. First, let me save this. So I will give the name as compensation and benefits. Here we will create a test sheet. This is the compensation rule. So let me check that are we having the version application as well, so it will be easy to understand there. Because there are so many members, so sometimes it's looks quite complex. That is the reason why I need to show you this rule in the vision application. So here we'll install the vision application now. From creating a sample application. So we need to wait for a few more seconds to install the vision application. Till then, let me show you the way to see this in the smart view. I have solved this earlier for the sake of testing, so in this way you can understand it better. Here I've taken the base data, plan scenario, working version, no product, facilities, resources is the entity, financial year 23 and 24 we have fixed there that only this business rule will work on these 2 years. So otherwise you can take a substitution variable as well, because sometimes we need to work this rule on the current year or next year or something, forecasting year, so you can take that also. But here for the sake of testing I have used directly the financial year 23 and 24, and then you can see we have I have calculated the salaries, car allowance, accommodation allowance, responsibility, medical coverage, staff provident fund and payroll taxes. So on the basis of salary everything gonna be calculated. Okay, so now let's see the application installed. or let me reopen this. Sometimes it's already installed, but it is taking some time to uh, give us the home page. See, the version of the application is already created here. I will quickly create one user so that we can test it simultaneously. Now we will move towards the dimensions so that I can show you that we have already this particular member exists in the application, that is 5800. We will discuss today for the plan one. See, the salaries is already existed in the application, and some of the members are already available here, like the miscellaneous employee expenses and payroll taxes, health and welfare, workers compensation and insurance, commission paid, other compensation. Okay, and if we need to give some of the more allowances and perquisites, so we can add here directly. And you can see that under the okay, right now there is no miscellaneous employee expenses expanded, so we can create here also. Okay, I'll just create one sibling of total employee expenses, or we can create it within that. By giving the name as car allowance. House rent allowance, we can also provide the house rent allowance, HRA, and in the alias I will write the full name of this, house rent allowance, and I make it a store property. Here I can mention it as a percentage, or let's make it only currency, because we will create the variable for the percentage of HRA, right? So this is one allowance. We can make one member as an allowance, and below that we can use all the descendants. So that is another way. Now let's create one sibling of this. Accommodation or house rent is same. Now I need to take car allowance, food allowance, anything. This is an expense, right? For the company, it is an expense. Then the next sibling, responsibility allowance, or we can take here the travel allowance, traveling allowance, or the travel allowance. Let's take here the food allowance. So in this way the company provides the employees as a food coupons, so we can use any of the allowances here. Store property. Okay, so 3 allowances are enough for now, right? Now we'll move towards the business rule creation, and I hope the medical coverage is already there, and if it's not there, so we need to calculate that also. Medical coverage, I will give underscore for the member name, and the alias I'll give spaces. Right, now the last thing, payroll taxes and provident fund, staff provident fund and payroll taxes. So if we can see the taxes over here, there is no payroll taxes, but yeah, payroll taxes is already available, 6110, right, 6110. And staff provident fund, I can create it separately. PF. Now we will quickly refresh the database. Then we'll take all these members in the smart view. So under the vision application, we need to select the plan 1. We will take here only financial year 24, or we can take here the current year as well. Let me show you from where again you can see the substitution variable in the application. Under the tools, go to the variables here. And when you click on the substitution variable, you will find the current year is financial year 23 and the next year is financial year 24. Then you can see you can even create a new thing as well, like current year. We can take here the substitution variable directly in the business rule, that if the current year is this, then the calculation will take place, okay, or if the next year or last year is this, whatever you want to take here. And from here you can even take the range of the actual year as well as the plan year. So here we will take the base data. The scenario will going to be the plan, working version, any product we can take, because I am going to use the I descendants of the product. And here I'll take financial year 23, January is the period, and 110 for facilities resources. And within the accounts, I'm going to take all the members. So under the all accounts and under the net income, we have some pre-tax incomes, then gross profit, so these are the operating expenses for the company, right? Let's take the parent member. Then 5800 is for total salaries, then HRA, car allowance, food allowance, medical stuff, right? And here we will take all the entities together. Sorry, I mean drag the entities. And yes, okay. Now we'll calculate it for the quarter 1. So here I'm gonna take the quarter one and we'll expand this. Right, so let's save this and I'll just enter only salaries. Okay, suppose in the January it is 50,000, February it is 60,000, and then it is 75,000 in the March. Submit data. So right now, because there is no other allowances calculated, so total employee expenses are this, only salaries. Now we will create the rule and we'll see whether it is working or not. So as I have created this in the same fashion, I'm going to create it. It is totally up to us, like do we want to take any kind of is member condition or not, just for the sake of apply the condition, like is it true or false. If financial year 23, if the current year is financial year 23, it is true, then this rule will work. So we can escape this as well, but just for the sake of less block creation, every time it is suggested to use the conditions so that only the block will create it for the required members. Otherwise it will sometimes calculate for the whole of the application, then this will definitely impact on the performance of the application, right? So I will just expand this. Under the rules, right click, compensation and benefits rule. Under the version application plan 1, so base data has already been fixed. I will fix some of the more dimensions like working version, then plan scenario, @I descendants of the because I want to take all the descendants of the year total, so I'm taking the I descendants of year total here, and then let's use the relative function for the product. And we want the 0 level members for this, right? Now let's apply 5800 because we're gonna calculate its salary over this. Here I will take the alias name of this so that it's not getting confusing to understand what is this member for. And then I will use the if condition. Okay, so if @is member, if this is true, so 23 and 24, so this will calculate for the next year as well, current year and the next year. or we can apply one more condition, like if @is member. Okay, so here I have taken all the entities on which I want to work this. Otherwise, if entities are different, it is not true. So this will not work. This rule will not work. So this rule can only be worked on 110, 111, 111 and 222. Sorry, 112. Okay. So this is my condition, and then I have write all the calculations. Okay. So let me check the members. So first we gonna calculate the HRA, that is the house rent allowance. House rent allowance will be calculated on the basis of salaries multiplied by, let me show you, this is the rule, 5800 multiplied by variable. Okay, earlier I've used the car allowance directly. Now I will create this for the house rent allowance, and the variable I will insert from here. HRA percentage. HRA percent. Let's suppose this is 15% of the basic salary, and we can limit this as well. Like this can be from 5 to 20. Okay. Enter HRA percent. In the same fashion, I will create all the variables for some of the remaining allowance calculation. So let's go back to the application. Next one is the car allowance. It is not being copied. Is equal to 5800, and again we'll create the variable, not smart list. Car allowance percent. Suppose it is directly 10% of the basic. We need to complete every sentence with this. Next one is the food allowance. This will again calculated on the basis of salaries, and plus food allowance I'm gonna calculate it on the basis of salaries and HRA. So I will just cover this under the parenthesis and multiply by new variable for the food allowance. Let's give 20%, because it is totally up to the company that sometimes food allowance will be given to the employees on the basis of the work done by them. Not every time, every month they are getting. It's not compulsory, right? So again, the last one is not last one. Here we need to take the medical coverage. So medical coverage will be on the basis of first HRA, second one is the car allowance, then the third one is food allowance. So all these are the basis for calculation of the medical coverage. Then we can take, okay, this is enough I guess. No, but before that I need to take 5800 because this is the basis of all of these things. 5800 plus HRA plus car allowance plus food allowance. Yes, it is done. Parenthesis open, parenthesis closed. And here I need to write one more variable for the medical coverage percentage. So let's suppose this is again this is 30% of all these things. Okay, and then the staff provident fund. I am copying it from the main member so that there will not be spelling mistakes over there. Again, on the basis of basic salary plus, now I will take all of these things plus medical coverage. The last time oh yeah, I have included a medical coverage here. And then last but not the least, this is 6110. So 6110 is for the provident fund, not provident fund, payroll taxes. This will be calculated on the basis of salary plus car allowance or any other allowances. All the allowances I have taken here, including the provident fund, but not the medical coverage. Okay, on that basis, we can get the payroll taxes. So again, the basic salary plus let me take all of these for now, and then we can delete some things. Like here we don't want medical coverage, but we want staff provident fund. On the basis of this, payroll taxes will be calculated. Alright, now parenthesis open, parenthesis closed, multiply by one more variable we need for the payroll tax percentage. So this can be changed, so we can provide a limit here. First let me write here the payroll taxes. Suppose it is 12%. Okay, okay, right now let's take only 12%. And then we need to close this if condition with and if and 2 times and fix. And if one more time, and if one more time the AND fix. Two fixes and two AND fixes, two if and two AND if. Okay, I hope this gets validated. So let's launch, validate and save first. Okay, there is one error. Invalid calc script syntax. Okay, I need to use a bracket over there like this. Sorry, not bracket, my mistake, it is parenthesis, and we need to close it with this. See, the rule validated with no errors. Quickly I will copy this and paste it in my documentation. Then we will deploy the same, and then we launch it. So every time we launch, it is asking that are you going to take the same or variable, or you need to change it. So this is launched without any errors. Okay, one more member we need to take here, 6110, then refresh. See, all the values automatically, because we have already launched the formula. Now we will test it simultaneously, that this is our let's test it for January month first. Okay, so if we use some other runtime prompt, so we can directly code the percentages here. Okay, now I need to check what will be the HRA percent. So this is the reason why we use the runtime prompt, because if we give runtime prompt for every of the allowances, so we can directly see the percent we have given there, right? But no worries, we can see it from this side. Like if I click on the HRA, so HRA is 15% of the basic. Here I will write the percentage first. 15%. And car allowance is 10%. Then food allowance is 20%. From here I'm checking the values. Medical coverage is 30% of what? This we will see it in the business rule. And the PF, that is payroll taxes. Payroll tax percentage is 12%. For provident fund, we didn't take any kind of percentage. We need to take here the percentage again. One more variable. PF percentage. So again I can write the runtime prompt. First make it a percentage. Suppose it is 14% directly. Again need to validate this. Now the values will become change, deploy and launch. Right, let me recopy this. So in this way you can create rule for the compensation and benefit, but let me validate the same. So you see we have defined the how we use the variables in this business rule. Okay, again I need to write the percentages. So from here we will quickly see the percentage. HRA is 15%, then car allowance is 10%, then food allowance is 20%, medical coverage is 30%, and provident fund is 14%, and payroll taxes are 12%. Okay, now everything is different because this is on the basis of basic salary only. So we will take basic salary, multiply by the percentage, so it is 7500, correct? Let me mark this with a green in color so that it is easy to grab things. So it is 7500, correct? Let's change the box color directly. It is validated. Now again 50,000 multiply by 10%, so it is 5,000. It is also correct. Food allowance, it is 50,000 multiply by 20%, so it is okay. I have applied one condition for the food allowance. Let me show you. See, food allowance is salary plus HRA and multiply by food allowance percent. Okay, so here how it will be calculated: salaries plus HRA multiply by 20%. So this is 11500. It is also validated. And now medical coverage. So medical coverage, see the formula, see the business rule. It is on the basis of the salaries plus HRA plus car allowance plus food allowance. Okay, so I am going to calculate all of these things. This plus this plus this plus this, and it is all multiplied by 30%. So it is 22200. See, this is also gets validated. Now PF. So PF is on the basis of, that is staff provident fund, salaries, HRA, car allowance, food allowance, medical coverage. Okay, so I am again gonna take salaries, HRA, car allowance, food allowance and medical coverage. This will multiply with 14%, so it will get 13468, 13468. Again it gets validated. Okay, now the last one is payroll taxes, and in the payroll taxes, except the medical coverage, everything will be covered. Okay, So again, I'll take the basic salary plus HRA, food allowance, medical allowance, car allowance. This is the medical coverage, so this will not take, but we need to take PF. Multiply by 12%. So it is 10496. It is also validated in round. It is taking the round off. So 0.16 ignored. Okay. So the each and every value is tested over here with the help of business rule. We are getting it in a correct way. Okay. So this is the way how you can use the business rule. Let me take a snapshot and attach here. So you have seen how we have created the members and how we created the variables, then we attach it to the business rule, and all the conditions are working properly. If you will take any other of the member, like we have specified the condition for the financial year 23 and 24. If you will take 22, 25, so this rule will not work. This you can test yourself. Otherwise, it will well work. And if you want to work this rule for whole of the years, and then you can ignore this condition in your business rule. Okay. Now the next rule is again a bit complicated. So I guess it is also taking some time to understand. So it will be good that if we can cover it on the next day. Then there is the custom full-time employee calculation. This will also calculate on the workforce module, or you can, if you want to calculate it on the vision application, then you need to check all the dimensions and members are available there or not. Then you can do that. Okay. So this is done from my side. So thank you so much guys for attending this session, and if you still have any doubts and queries, then please feel free to ask us over the www.bispsolutions.com. So thank you so much. Bye bye.